Hi guys, today I wanted to paint some cherry blossoms and I'm using this larger cookie. I just cut it, with a pizza cutter out of some dough because I want to start actually doing larger pieces of artwork on larger cookies. But anyway, I hope today's lesson is still going to be of some use to you because we're just going to paint some blossoms and some buds on a little branch. So to prepare for this, what I did is I looked on, I think it was Shutterstock or some free, imaging website where I could just get some pictures of cherry blossoms, and there are different varieties with different complexity and whatnot. So given my skill level and the difficulty of painting with gel on a darn cookie, it's we got to kind of keep it simple for ourselves. So what I wanted to do is something like this. And what I'm going to use is a flat brush. I have my pink gel, some burgundy, and some brown. So in preparing for this, I was kind of like, I get worried, that you might have to, I don't want you having to buy a bunch of different supplies and stuff like that to figure out how to paint your cookies. But honestly, if you have a flat brush in your supply kit, it is very useful. It's a good flat brush is worth having. So okay, what do we want to do? I cut the cookie like this specifically so that it could sort of have a curving branch shape with some offshoots where we can put some buds. So but we got to keep this a little bit simple so we don't drive ourselves nuts and overcomplicate things. That kind of defeats the purpose of having fun. So okay, as you know, when painting with gel, we have to do kind of like the lighter colors or the lighter tones or shades at the back and then the darker ones on top. So how about, let's just start here. I'm going to get my brush wet with clean water first, and then I'm going to, I just dried it off on the Kleenex. Well, Now I'm picking up a little bit of, I'm getting my brush damp with pink wash, and then I'm just picking up a little bit of pink gel in the corner. So this corner here has a little bit of pink gel and I've got pink wash on the brush. And what I want to do is turn my brush around so that the darker shade is going to be on the outside of the petal. Oh, let's just try to be a little bit specific here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they have 5 kind of roundish petals. And we're going to leave some spaces and then we'll put in some dots for the stamens later. So let's just, first of all, plan on doing some larger blossoms, petals, and we're just going to keep them pretty basic and circular, and I'm just continually getting my brush damp and picking up, well, that was way too much dampness and way too much gel. I'm gonna have to hide that later. Okay, so well, that's the whole thing. Be better than me, right? We can have these fairly pale and if we make a bunch of mistakes, we can cover them with darker petals or even some buds later. So I'm just picking up some of the wash not as much as last time, and a little bit of pink gel. And the reason I'm having the darker shade on the outside of the petal is because when we put our stamens in, we'll be able to see them. Okay? So we're going to have our branch kind of curving this way. So what we can do is maybe have some flowers that are you know, just opening up a little bit differently. But honestly, if they all look the same, that's fine too. Try to have that petal a little bit more like that. So there are lots of cherry trees around here, and a lot of the petals and stuff do have like different shades of pink. Actually, we're lucky because the one that's close to our house is burgundy, which looks like amazing. But the neighbor, they have a burgundy and a pink in their yard. It looks really nice. Okay, so how about we just do that for now? And then we want to put in some buds and our branch. Okay, I want to stop and think for a second. It's like, eventually I'm going to get to the point where I stop and think before I start the video, but I am not there yet. Okay, so I do have a little bit of brown, and I'm going to use my script liner. What do I mean a little bit of brown? I've got my brown gel, so I'm just getting my script liner, and I want to get it damp in the brown wash, and then I'm picking up some of the brown gel, and we're gonna carefully put in some branch. I don't want this to be like too heavy. I don't want it to be too heavy at first, because what can happen, see, is like you can get, if there's a little bit too much wash on your brush, it'll kind of spread more than you want. So yeah, how about we just do this for now. I'm too kind of like scared about how I want to and we're going to be able to add our buds and a little bit more contour to the branch and stuff like that. I don't want to overthink it just yet too much. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to use our flat brush again, and I want to see if maybe the burgundy, because the buds themselves tend to be like one shade and a little bit darker. So what we want to do is just put in some kind of like circular kind of like just some darker balls, bud balls. And these will give a bit of contrast to the blossoms themselves. And still just using my flat brush, but I am picking up gel still on the corner edge of the flat brush, but I do want to kind of just make these a little bit circular and dark and that kind of thing. And not have it like too overwhelming. Where can we put just a couple more buds, because they kind of like have their own little like stems and stuff like that off the branch. Yeah, add a couple of details in a bit. Okay, now I want to clean off my flat brush just in case. Well, it's a good habit too. I don't want to get confused and have the burgundy on it and then go to pick up pink. So that's all cleaned. Now I want to use, I could just use my script liner again, because the little branches that the buds are on tend to be burgundy as well. Oh, did I just hit the camera? Jeepers. Oh man. Okay. Now, while we're working, these blossoms are going to be dry by now. So without hitting the cord, let me pick up another brush. I'm going to use my spotter. And, oh, wait a second. I want to use a good end from one of my other brushes. Some of the brushes that you get, they have these tips that are designed specifically for adding dots to your painting. And that's what I want to do right now with this one. Let's see what this does. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So I'm just have the tiny little bit of wash in with the burgundy, and I'm swirling the end of the brush in with the gel to pick up enough where I can add these little dots to the center of the blossoms. So for yourself, you know, if you are doing some small cookies for either a display for your guests or whatever, you could do a collection with just like a little blossom on it with a little branch. That could be one cookie. You could have other little cookies with buds, and it would be a super cute little plate. It's always time consuming adding dots, but I love it. I'm just spreading them out a little bit. with the blossoms. There's a bud that needs a stem, so let's put that one in. Okay. Now, the one thing that the buds have are these small leaves that kind of encase them. So I just want to use my spotter brush to sort of add a couple of those, just so that the buds look a little bit more rounded. Because they have these kind of like little side leaves that the blossom's emerging from. It's easy to put those in. Okay. Now, what we can do, just to sort of make it slightly more interesting, is we can go back to using our flat brush, and we can just add a couple petals from that are kind of like, I don't know, add a little bit of dimension or something. And maybe what I can do is just pick up a little bit of the burgundy. Once again, not thinking beforehand. Okay. Is this going to be too dark? I'm kind of scared. It might be a little bit dark. But, so what? Let's just be brave and see if we can just add a couple. Oh, see, now I took off so much of the burgundy that it's not even, can barely see it. Just to sort of show a couple of flowers, blossoms that are, you know, kind of opening up here and there. Oh, this doesn't look too bad. Okay, how about we just not wreck it and leave it like that? I'm gonna just go back and use my end of my paintbrush to add a couple more dots. If this will cooperate. And, you know, just sort of the idea of some cherry blossom branches. So there you have it. And as I say, I do think that, like, if you did a set with some individual cookies and stuff like that, it would look like super pretty if you had some small ones that you were able to kind of put out together. Some have blossoms and some have buds. Well, since I've got you completely enraptured with your attention, is there anything that I can do to improve the branch? Maybe we can just pick up our brown again with our script liner and not have it too damp, but just sort of like can just make the branch look a little bit more interesting. You have to kind of pick what you can do, right? Since it's all so tricky working with the gel. Okay, maybe I'll just leave it like this. And that could be our little branch with some cherry blossoms on it. Good. Okay, thanks for your company, you guys. I'll see you next time.